the Subaru Share the Love event is on from November 20th to January 2nd. During this event, Subaru donates to charities like the National Park Foundation, helping protect over 400 national parks. When you purchase or lease a new vehicle during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and its retailers will make a minimum $300 donation to charity. Visit Subaru.com/share to learn more.
Hello there, Stanley Carr here. You know, I love collecting music and sports memorabilia. Want to know where you can find some? I'll tell you. Go to oldglory.com. This website features one-of-a-kind apparel from your favorite sports teams and musical artists. And I can help you get 15% off of all items. Use the code WWH135. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. And with me right now, I've got a very special guest. She is an independent professional wrestler based out of Canada. She has been seen on Ring of Honor, WWE, and AEW television. I'm pleased to welcome the elite pro wrestler, Nova.
Hi. How's it going?
Oh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, what part of Canada are you from?
Originally from Dowling, Ontario, which is a very, very small community that's north of Sudbury, Ontario. But now I'm living in the Greater Toronto area.
Okay, Toronto, big city, lots to do.
Very much so.
Well, talk to me about your childhood and upbringing growing up.
Well, I grew up again in a very small community. I would say there was at least 1,000 people there or less. I went into, a French elementary school where I think we graduated with 11 students. So I'm from a very, very small area. I then went to a French high school where I became very involved with volleyball. And I think my goals then were to become a professional volleyball player. So I made it a point to look at all of the colleges in Ontario and see which one is the best for volleyball. So I got myself, I graduated high school. I ended up getting myself recruited into Humber College, which is in the Greater Toronto area, being my very first place of education that was all English. And unfortunately there, I ended up blowing my ACL and I needed to sit out for a year, but I did complete the rest of my college education back home in Sudbury, Ontario, at Cambrian College.
So was athletics always something that you had been doing growing up as a kid? Was that something you fell into just a little bit later?
Yes. So growing up, I was immediately put into different types of sport or art. So, I was playing baseball, I was playing soccer, and I was also dancing at the same time. And then come high school, I actually joined every single sport offered to me. So I did obtain many, many awards, whether it be Athlete of the Week, Athlete of the Month, Athlete of the Year, All-Star. And it just kind of branched up into my college life, where then I focused mainly on volleyball. So, and then here I am today, just a professional wrestler. How did that happen?
Was volleyball your favorite sport?
It was. So after college, immediately after I graduated college, I was still encountering issues with my knee, even after ACL reconstruction surgery. So after college, two things happened. I got recruited to Griffith University for their volleyball team. So I was supposed to be going to Australia to play volleyball. And then at the same time, I also got hired with my local police service at the time. So because I was having problems with my ACL, I wasn't too sure how long I would endure living in Australia, playing volleyball there. I ended up going the career path where I'm like, let's just kickstart my career at 21 years old. And I ended up becoming a first responder then. Fast forward a couple years later in 2017, I ended up being at a point where I was in the best shape of my life and I still wanted to continue with sport. I was feeling like, okay, so this was from 2009 at 21 years old to 2017. I wanted to continue with sport. I'm working my ass off here and I want to be young again. So I ended up getting myself recruited to play professionally in Slovenia. Unfortunately, my place of employment did not grant me a leave of absence. So I had to decline that offer and continue with being a first responder. And then in 2019, I absolutely said, fuck it. I'm going to go a completely different route. I've always wanted to try running the ropes in a wrestling ring. I ended up contacting a local indie wrestling promotion, Rock Solid Pro Wrestling. And the rest is history. Here I am today.
Yeah, I mean, when you get those setbacks like that, it sucks because you're trying to do something that you love to do, and it can be hard, but you're able to course correct and find it to really overcome so much and go for it, all the way. So, wrestling was that always something that you enjoyed watching?
Absolutely. I grew up watching it, mainly the WWF Attitude Era, and played it on my N64 growing up. So it's always been a love for me. But again, growing up in a really small community, all we knew was WWF. All we knew was TV. I didn't know that indie wrestling was a thing. So I only really got to know the indie wrestling scene when I started to do more research on how can I get into a ring and run the ropes and just train a bit. I didn't expect to be a professional wrestler, of course. I just wanted to, check a box off the bucket list and say that I did it.
And Canada's just got so much rich history with professional wrestling, with the Hearts, and it's incredible to see the evolution of how much it has changed over the last several decades. Now, did you have a favorite wrestler that you enjoyed watching growing up during that time? Because I mean, the Attitude Era
Absolutely.
was white hot.
Yes, Jeff Hardy was my number one favorite wrestler. Of course, the Hardy Boys, Lita. Lita was an amazing role model for me. I always wanted to be like her. She's just tough and, she was, tomboy, but still can, hang with the boys, and she was athletic. She just stood out to me. So Jeff Hardy, but then the entire just Hardy Boys group with Matt and Lita.
Yeah, and I've definitely watched some of your clips. You're definitely mixing up with some of the guys as well on the independent scene.
Yes. So I do feel like at times, not always, there is a little bit of a shortage of women in the Ontario indie wrestling scene. So there are times where women just can't get booked for that specific show date because either they're unavailable or they're already booked with other promotions. So I do have opportunities to still work that show, but go head to head with a male.
Do you feel that it's different, or do you feel it's similar as far as working with a guy versus working with a woman? Do you feel like there's some similarities or differences?
It is a bit different because if as a woman, when I am in women's matches, I am actually huge compared to a lot of the female wrestlers in this province. I'm 5'8". A lot of women's wrestlers are under 5'6", 5'5", 5'4". So I'm a base for a lot of them. Where now, when it comes to wrestling guys, I'm still as strong as some of them are, where I can toss them around. But at the same time, I can also try different moves on them because they can base me. They're strong enough to base me.
And I think it's amazing how, you're determined, you're living your dreams. When one opportunity didn't work out, you pick up this other one. Um, you had mentioned you had contacted an independent promotion in the area. Walk me through the training process, because when I've had people on the show, talk about their training experiences, it can be very, very difficult, very hard. What was your experience like learning how to wrestle?
Very interesting journey learning how to wrestle. But it literally just started with meeting with the promoter of Rock Solid pro wrestling, and we just went out for coffee to a local Starbucks in Sudbury, Ontario. His name is Tornado, Mark Bartolucci. And he basically just told me that, this might not be for me. There's a really big overturn for women in the indie wrestling scene just because it is very violent. You could actually get struck. A lot of women don't like getting struck in the face. If they are, they're out. So he's just like, we'll start little by little, step at a time, and see how you can accommodate to it. So I actually began my wrestling journey learning chain wrestling in a basement. So once or twice a week, I would actually go to his house, which wasn't too far from me. And it's his family home, his wife and his kids and his dogs upstairs. And we go downstairs into his basement, and I would learn chain there. And then after I learned some chain there, then we started with suplexes, where he'd pull out a bedroom mattress in the family living room. And I would be giving him suplexes, right beside the television set, hoping not to, crash into it. So that was my beginning of my journey. And then after some time, he's like, okay, come out to a couple rock solid indie wrestling shows. You'll learn how to bump. But in the meantime, we want you to learn the universal. So we need to get you into a ring. So there wasn't actually a training facility in Sudbury, Ontario. This is where I started traveling from Sudbury, Ontario to Kitchener, Ontario, to Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy. So that was about, I'd say 4.5, 5 hours driving one way to train and then drive home. So I did that for a bit. And then I realized that because I'm still working full time as a first responder, where I'm getting this training on weekends, but just like any type of hands-on job, you need consistent hands-on training to retain everything, right? Like you have to keep being exposed to it, where I would learn and I would do amazing that weekend when I was learning in the ring. But then once I came home for the week, you lose it. So I was kind of relearning everything every time I kept driving back, where I think a decision was made with Tornado where it was just like, okay, we need some more consistent training here just so I can retain and then move on to the next piece, retain and move on to the next piece. So then I ended up enrolling with Tyson Duke's Wrestling Factory in London, Ontario, where I took all of my, was it 2019 annual leave for first responder, because like you're granted so many days of holidays where you would normally break it up a week here, a week there throughout the year. I said, no, give it all to me in January 2019. Give me the entire month off. I'm moving out to London and I'm going to learn wrestling. So that's what I did. I went on Kijiji. I rented a bedroom out of somebody's house. I stayed there for the month, and then I was doing wrestling in nightly classes, doing gymnastics during the day, going to the gym during the day. And that was my life for that month until I became, actually green to wrestle in matches.
And I think that's so cool. You're doing wrestling and gymnastics. I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand because it's very acrobatic and you learn so much different styles. I feel like you get sort of like you fuse them together and you develop something that I feel like can become unique. And I think that with you, um, getting that kind of experience, learning, one thing here and another thing here really helps prepare you for what comes next.
Absolutely. You have two choices in life when you go through things. No matter what it is, you can continue to just stay on your path and be comfortable, or you can continue to strive and challenge yourself. And that's what I chose to do at the time.
Yeah, it just opens up multiple possibilities, opens up so many doors for, other avenues. And so tell me about some of the pieces of advice you got from your trainers early on that you kind of took away from your time learning how to wrestle and you've applied it today.
One piece of advice was to is essentially, and I guess it's much like any job when you're being trained, is that you're going to be told many different things by many different wrestlers, and there's many different ways on how to do one thing. So you're going to be bombarded with information on you should be doing a move this way, or you should be doing that same move this way in this type of circumstance. At the end of the day, you can't force what you're comfortable with. So and you'll see even today, every wrestler has their own type of craft where they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. And you definitely want to focus on the strengths and what you're good at and what you excel at, to put in a match. So that's kind of where I'm at now is, I've learned a ton of different moves, and I will apply some here and there and throw them into a match, just to keep fresh with them. But at the end of the day, I think I put on my best match when I can do the moves that I'm comfortable doing. It's less pressure for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can just accomplish it easier. I look more confident. I look more stronger out there when I can just do something that's me.
Know the stuff that you've learned and know the stuff that you feel like you're okay with and not having to. It's less stressful.
Absolutely. There's already a lot to think about when you go out for a match, but
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning, careless fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
if you just stay yourself and just be true to yourself and just do you, it's a lot less on your plate.
Yeah, for sure. Now, over the course of your career, you've gotten to compete and work against so many different opponents. Who would you say have been some of your favorite opponents that you've gotten to be in the ring with so far?
I would say Allison Kay is definitely one of them. She's helped coach me and guide me, based on some of the things I have in my matches. She's helped me replace it with some things. She's helped me add some things. So I would say Allison Kay has been great to me when it comes to working a match with her. Lady Frost, I was very, very excited about working. Big League Pro in Pennsylvania has given me amazing opportunities to work these opponents. So I look forward to working with them again.
And you've gotten the chance to be on national television and get to try out for the WWE as well. Talk to me about those experiences.
WWE tryouts came very, very fast. Like I was starting my very first pro wrestling match in March of 2019, and I did two matches. And then I got flown out right away to the WWE Performance Center in Florida, where I was trying out against all these superstar athletes who are either wrestlers and they're just not signed, or they're actually just freak athletes, you know. And like there was two groups of groups to try out with. There's wrestlers that are indie wrestlers, they have wrestling experience, and then there was athletes who have never been in a ring and haven't really done anything, right? So, you know, it was insane. I didn't know which group I would belong in because I was only two wrestling matches deep, but they ended up throwing me in with the indie wrestlers. So it was very challenging, for someone who's completely green. But I think if I had an opportunity today to redo it, I would do much better.
Did you get a chance to bump in anybody, may have given you some guidance during that time, or people that, uh, gave you some advice, words of wisdom that you might recall?
I think the one person who, and not that she was an applicant just like myself. She wasn't in charge or leading the tryout at all, but I had some really good words with Jade Cargill. She was, I think this was her very first tryout. I think she's done two tryouts, but this was her first one. And she really tried to encourage me just to get out of my shell. Cause again, I'm literally, I don't feel like I belong there because I'm with these crazy athletes. And here I am from Sudbury. Like I showed up in my rubber boots and my plaid jacket in Florida weather. I still make it look stylish, but that's just who I am. And she really encouraged me to, you really need to show involvement. You need to show support for the other applicants. You need to just cheer and encourage people and just be loud. And that wasn't something that wasn't who I was back then. I've grown a lot since then, where, I'm really good with my theatrics now. I'm still always working on it, but yeah, I had some good words with her. And then we talked about fitness and nutrition, and that's her forte. So
She's incredible. She is just so strong. When you watch her now, it's unbelievable.
the
Um,
insane thing is that, and it's always said that, you see a lot of women on the internet and they don't look like that in real life, right? That's always kind of said about models or whoever. But I can truthfully and honestly say what you see online as to what Jade Cargill looks like is 100% accurate to what she's like in person.
it's amazing.
Those abs are rock hard. Yeah.
Now, you also had the chance to work on Ring of Honor television too, getting national exposure on a major platform. What was that like?
Yes, in 2024, I worked backstage with AEW as just extra talent, as an enhancement talent, and no one really knows what to expect when you go backstage, because you could either be sitting there all night during the show waiting and not being selected for anything, or you'll get spontaneously approached, and that's exactly what happened to me. It was, you know, Nova, you're in. Go start planning your match with Abaddon. So it was a really cool experience. Very, very short match, but you got to give it your 100%, and that's what I did.
Were there ever any conversations about possibly getting signed to a contract or any possible talks of using you further with the company?
I still work casually with AEW when they do come to Toronto. So I have been backstage. I'm employed as enhancement talent or extra talent when they come to Canada, which has been amazing experience. I haven't been used since then, but yeah, again, after my match in 2024, Tony was right there when I exited through the curtains, and he was very, very happy with how I did. So I think if they didn't like my work, I wouldn't have been invited back this year.
What's your ultimate goal in pro wrestling? Where do you see yourself in the next few years?
That is a great question. I don't want to get my hopes up, because you have to really look at the big picture. I got my age, but I also have the amount of indie wrestlers out there in this world in comparison to who is actually signed, and who is actually being used on TV. So as much as I would absolutely love to get signed, as would any indie wrestler, I have to be realistic and just enjoy the moment and enjoy the fact that I have this opportunity to be a pro wrestler in the first place. So I am very, very grateful and very thankful. And again, my goal at the beginning of this entire journey in 2019 was just to get into a ring and run the ropes. I didn't expect to be a wrestler at all. So, considering I have worked with AEW countless times, I have beyond exceeded my expectations and my goals already. So, I'm very thankful.
Any dream matches?
Dream matches. You know what? Give me a match on the main roster at AEW.
Anyone in particular, or just in general, just anyone on the main roster for AEW?
I would like to work with Thekla.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think she is super, yeah, I'm a big fan. She's super badass. I love her style. I love her I don't give a shit attitude. She's tough, and she works really, really well. I would love to have an opportunity to work with her.
I could definitely see that. Now, outside of wrestling, I know you're very involved with charity work and have done stuff in your community. As you mentioned, you're a first responder. Talk to me about that and any experiences you might have with helping out over the years that were very heartwarming for you.
I'm sure, I guess, with regards just to my charity work right now, I work. with the SPCA, which is the local dog shelter here in my city. I'm a volunteer dog walker. I also work with it's called ABRO, ABRO, American Bully Rescue of Ontario. So whenever there's a post on Facebook where they need to have a dog transported somewhere, I am typically a driver for dogs that need to go to certain vets or need to go into the care of people who have, you know, volunteered to take them in, maybe fosters or adopters that don't have ride availability. So I do that with bully dogs. And I also just do volunteer work whenever it comes about. So yeah, it makes me feel good helping out the community.
Yeah, it's very amazing. You're doing all this stuff with animal rescue. There's no better feeling than being there for someone who is just going through so much in their life. Um, was there a particular event that you helped out with in the past that you really enjoyed the most?
That's a great question. I guess I would really, I just really enjoy the one-on-one time I have with the dogs that I transport with American Bully Rescue of Ontario, because they're coming out of some really crappy situations, and I know that I'm driving them to either get medical care or I'm driving them to people who want to take care of them, and I know that they're going to have a better opportunity in life wherever they're being taken. So I have them in my back seat of my vehicle, and I have an opportunity to play with them a little bit and get them comfortable with me before we take off and drive. So it's just like, it's cute, the one-on-one time I have with these dogs, and I say my goodbyes and wish them the best. So
It's always exciting, whenever a dog's getting into a new home and finds a new home, their owners and everything. So it's all the bittersweet in the world, when you make sure that they're in a better place, than they may have been. And as far
absolutely.
and as far as being a first responder,
Yes.
talk about that. And what is it about being a first responder that you find the most rewarding?
Yes. So in April coming up, so in just the next couple months, I will be in year 17 of service. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Yes, I started working at my local service since I was 21 years old. So here I am now at 37, still going. But I definitely understand the importance, and this was always stressed on us in the beginning. And you don't really think about it much at first, but they always say work-life balance, because your job can't endure your entire life. It can't be about your entire life. So I think pro wrestling has saved me. Pro wrestling has given me an amazing opportunity to just, separate my mind from the regular working world and everything I'm exposed to just being able to entertain people and, be my athletic self. So I thank pro wrestling for that very much. And my favorite part about being a first responder, honestly, I work for the victims. I am here for victims. I want to be that strong human that can help them in their most shittiest time.
Yeah, it's very hard whenever somebody's going through something, and it's you got to make sure that they get where they need to be so that they can, go on and not have to worry about a whole lot, because life is hard and all we can do is try to make the best of it. And so every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Like I mainly only see people in their absolute worst moments of their life. And, you can be an athlete, you can be a doctor, you could be a nurse, you can be a pharmacist, you can be a computer tech. It doesn't really matter. You don't hear about a lot of it because, everybody has social media, everybody goes online, but nobody will post this, right? The things you read online when on your friend's Facebook page, they're only posting things you want to see or they want you to see. So to be able to just be that strong foundation and be there for somebody and, let them know that they're okay. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help them. And that makes me feel good inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's hard growing up, I feel like, and anything that you can do to brighten their day uh is just adds up, for the better. Every little bit helps. And so being there for somebody in the time of need goes a long way. They say kindness always wins. So
Absolutely. Like as much as you want to control every step of your life, there are going to be times in your life that you cannot control. And you cannot predict when it's going to happen. And it's insane. You know what I mean? You could be at the top of your career and then drive down the highway and get struck by a driver who has crossed the center line because they were texting. And, all of that can come to an end. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen it all. And it sucks. So again, pro wrestling has really opened my eyes where I can focus on something outside of my workplace that I love because I'm never guaranteed to go home every night after work.
you got to count your blessings and be grateful for everything that you have and try to make the best of every day possible.
Absolutely.
Well, Nova, this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you. I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media? And if there's anything you want to plug, feel free.
Thank you. I have tried to enroll in all these social media platforms. So whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, TikTok. I'm still trying to get a little bit more comfortable with TikTok. I don't post too much there, but yeah, I'm available everywhere. And if anybody needs to book me, I'm available for Canada and US and possibly Mexico if we can talk about that and discuss it. nova.wrestling@hotmail.com would be my method of contact if anybody wants to book me for anything. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And you're more than welcome to come back.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.